It's a slide in New York.
Continue. You said it 3 times. Like, give us like
slide?
something else.
Yeah.
Like a kid slide.
Waiting for the punchline.
Is it in New York City?
No, there's a name for it. Oh, it's your mom's throat. Oh!
All the kids are using it.
That's a slippery slope, my friend.
I'm so glad you started recording that.
Oh my god.
So happy I hit record.
Anthony, thank you for that.
I just love how he goes, all the kids are using it.
I just heard that the other day.
Oh, it's horrible.
Good.
You know what's
Listen to
horrible?
that.
My mother listens to the show.
My in-laws, my parents, everyone listens to this on my side.
Unbelievable.
My mom's gonna be like, no, they don't.
Oh man.
That'd be great. What if your mom answered with no, they don't? I spit them on your dad's chest.
Oh my god.
Gross.
Oh my God.
You had to go there, didn't you? You just had to do it.
Anthony,
Andrew's joke wasn't enough.
That was good.
I was at the dinner with Lisa's friends on Saturday, and I brought up the whole entire door and wheel conversation, and I literally spiraled every single one of them. They were all doors, by the way, so I got into a huge debate and I got mad.
Oh, they're dumb.
Well, they had some interesting arguments, but
let's hear one of them. Let's hear the best
honestly,
one.
I was so mad about it, I don't even remember. Because like I started sitting there and looking at the restaurant, I was like, okay, there's a lot of doors in here that there's no wheels. So I went down this whole entire thing with them. But they said one of the kid was like, I have a debate. He's a cop in New York City, and he's like, I have a debate about, do people put their shoes on before, like, do they do sock, shoe, or do they do sock, shoe,
Seashell down by the seashore.
Yeah, right.
Jesus Christ, that was a brain aneurysm. Do they do sock, shoe, or sock, shoe?
That's
And-
a sociopath does that.
Who does
yeah.
Sock shoe. You're a special kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Think of how weird that would feel, but standing with a shoe and a sock on and the other foot completely bare.
So what I want to know is who brought that up that actually does that?
You just
He said
explained
there's a
every
couple
time
people-
standing with a shoe and a sock on, the other foot completely bare. It's every time Jake jerks off.
I can't think of an example, but like,
Excuse me.
I'm picturing myself putting on. I'm picturing putting on one sock and one shoe on one side, and then some sort of emergency happens, and I'm like, fuck, I don't have anything else on the other foot.
On this
Slippery
episode,
outside.
with locked up for what? Seriously.
Sprinting
And
down
then-
the street with one shoe on.
Then we got into like how you put toothpaste on a toothbrush. Do you like rinse the toothbrush
Ooh,
first
I'm
and
rinse.
then put toothpaste?
Yeah. Rinse,
I
paste,
do-
rinse.
Me
You guys
too.
brush your teeth?
Agreed. Only a
have to do it that way.
sociopath will put on toothpaste dry onto a toothbrush and start brushing. You're I don't want to touch that guy will kill you. Like
The
that.
toothbrush is already wet though. Jake, you don't brush your fucking teeth then.
No, I wet my toothbrush, then I put the toothpaste on, then I wet it
Oh.
again. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
saying-
Yeah,
sorry.
rinse,
I'm-
rinse, paste, rinse.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm saying the people who don't put any water on and just start brushing their teeth are complete sociopaths.
I
Raw
got it.
dog that toothbrush.
I apologize.
What is the purpose of rinsing the second time?
I have no idea. It's a
It
habit
just-
that I've been
it's-
doing since I
it's-
was 2.
It
Same.
just feels better.
Same.
It just feels better.
does.
I just
Zero
started doing it.
purpose. Stop doing it.
You never want to go
Yeah.
in dry.
Rinse once before the toothpaste. Get out of there. Peach tea whiskey, but I'm looking at it. The whiskey is clear, and I'm drinking it with green tea. This
Looks like
you,
urine.
you can see the bottom of the glass is clear, and then it starts like there's a layer there.
You
Yeah.
literally have never looked more like Creed in my life.
Today's Halloween. It's a good coincidence. So I'm pretty sure I'm just drinking green tea at this point, and all the liquor's at the bottom.
Yeah. So now we're really going to test Anthony's editing skills next week.
Actually, Greg, that's must. All right. Now I'm wondering who told me about the peach whiskey with the green tea. It's
Hey.
got to be you. That had to be you then. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Muffin.
Yeah,
It's actually pretty good.
that sounds really
This
Um,
is Stillhouse. Hold on. How do I?
Is that an oil can?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Holy
that.
crap, I was drinking that.
He showed
It's
me
like
before we
black
started
one.
recording. I was
You're
like, is that
drinking-
baking soda?
Is that acetone? What are you drinking?
Acetone. It's the mineral spirits that you take paint off.
Yeah, look at that.
That looks like it has like a 10-year shelf life. Like
For
that
your health.
Like water.
It's so weird because it's whiskey, but it's clear.
How do they do that?
Uh-huh.
I
Science.
feel like you pulled that out of the.
I
underneath
feel
the
like it's
kitchen
not
sink.
whiskey and it's actually paint thinner.
Like I feel if I cut this open, it's gonna be full of like silver dollars from 1927.
Greg is drinking primer.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, right.
That's oof.
You're in an oil can.
Oof. Man, I'm still laughing at I'm still laughing at Andrew's joke. Oh man. Anyway, so speaking of funny and disgusting at the same time, this would have been a great headline for last week's show as we were talking about Matt's unfortunate experiences with poop in his pants. Did you guys hear about this Brazilian singer, Viviane de Queiroz Pereira? She was hospitalized because she didn't want to fart in front of her significant other. Imagine holding a fart so long you had to go to the hospital.
I'm never going to the hospital then.
She had a gastrointestinal fiasco. She detailed it on her Instagram story for 15.7 million followers. She woke up at 5:30 a.m. with severe stomach pains and ended up in the hospital. She's 27 years old. Her bizarre affliction started after she refused to let her rip because she wasn't on farting terms with her boyfriend. The gaseous gal also reportedly heeded advice from a TikTok thread that told her to ignore the stomach pains, which eventually resulted in her having to report to the doctor with an accumulation of, hold on, it's got a bunch of pictures of her. She's very pretty. Wow. Accumulation of odorous gas.
Methane.
Oh.
The
See, like,
diagnosis at the hospital was trapped farts.
there's no
There's
way.
no medical term for that.
No way. That's
No,
legit
just
diagnosis.
trapped farts. You guys, trapped farts. This is from the New York Post.
You were
What's the
diagnosed
billing
with
code?
farts.
That
I mean,
is
she's
bizarre.
stunningly beautiful, though. Check this out.
My
She's
dad used to
gorgeous.
yell at me when, first off, that may be a boy or a man.
I'd Sufta.
At one point, a man.
At one point, a man. My dad used to yell at me all the time when we would go to like family vacations, and Matt can vouch for this. I would always fart, and he'd be like, "Just hold it in." I was like, "I can't. It hurts." So now I wish I had this article like 20 years ago. I could use it as proof that I could be hospitalized for it. He wouldn't have
Lisa
cared.
must have a very high pain threshold.
Very, very.
All right. So if she wasn't on farting terms with her boyfriend, at what point does that become kosher in a new relationship?
I'll let Jake answer that one.
Mm.
I mean, I mean,
almost came out of my mouth.
Jake is Jewish.
you
For
asking
everybody
from
that
my
doesn't know.
perspective when it was okay for me to start farting in front of my fiance.
No, the
It
flip
had more to
side.
do with the kosher concept.
Flip side.
When is it okay for the female to fart in front of their significant other?
Either one.
I mean,
Either one.
I generally don't
Either
care.
one.
I don't care. I mean, what I did, I was polite. I'd get up and go to the bathroom or something, make an excuse so that way in the beginning of the relationship. But I guess it comes down to comfort level. Once you're comfortable enough around the person, then just let her rip, let it go.
I just picture EMS rolling her in the hospital on the stretcher, and the guy and the EMS guy is like, "Hurry up, everyone out of the way! She's gonna blow!"
You start like pressing on her stomach, making sure, do you feel pain here? Do you feel pain here? You feel
How
pain
do
here?
you think? Do you think she naturally just like let it out, or do you think they like had to medically extract it?
They brought her into a soundproof room and just let her rip. She just went in there.
That's got to be the best feeling. Like when you hold one in for
Spread
long and you
cheek.
let it go.
Do you guys
Well, it's
ever
nothing-
see those videos of the boyfriends leaving the girlfriend's house and the ring
On the Ring
doorbell
camera?
catches
On the
them
Ring
letting them
doorbell?
go
Yeah.
after 3-4 hours?
Well, that's the go-to when you're in a date. After you let her in first, you let her into the car first, and you walk around the back of the car, act like you gotta tie your shoe, and then you let out the nastiest, most smelliest fart on the planet.
Yeah, but then it follows you into the car.
Well,
and
you
now
right.
both
wait a
trapped.
minute. You're
Right.
tying your shoe. You fart as you go down to start tying the shoe, and then by the time you're up, you're good to go. It's in the
No,
clear.
but Matt's right though, because like some of those videos, they walk right back into the house right after. They're just crop dusting the entire house.
I mean, why don't you just go
Speaking
into the
of-
bathroom? Go in the bathroom, turn on the faucet. So
Since,
that way you
since we're
can't
on
hear
the
it.
since we're on the topic of farts, I'm gonna sidebar a little bit here, but I don't know if any of you done this before at work. if you're like going to the bathroom, you have to fart. You're like embarrassed to do it, so you try to cough and fart at the same time, but you mischime it. So
Just
like,
gotta-
you're
gotta
45 minutes late to your next meeting.
fart to a hand towel.
Like a silencer for your fart.
Fuzzy hands, Greg.
Huh?
Fuzzy hands.
Oh my god.
We're gonna lose
All
Andrew
right.
the first hour.
I get it.
I can't even remember how long I was dating Nicole before I farted in front of her, but I feel like,
Probably the first
how about
week.
this? Is it ever okay? Like, are you, do you find it weird when your wife or girlfriend farts in front of you?
No,
No.
not at all.
Well, no, it's a level of comfort. I find it hilarious. Like I remember one time. Actually, I'm not even gonna go there because she's gonna get mad at me.
On
I
next
find it
week's
funny,
episode, we're
too.
talking about Matt's divorce.
Yeah. Come up next week for
I
11
remember
years.
the first time I did.
I
Yeah,
am
she ended up in the
the
hospital.
She did.
Yeah.
He did. Oh man.
Do you guys remember who was there at Novita when I ripped ass at the bar, at the wine bar, and I cleared out the entire?
Oh yeah, wait, I was there.
section?
I think I
That
was
was
'cause I
paint
think
night.
he came to
Wasn't
sit
that-
next to us.
Yeah,
Wasn't that
yeah, that was
paint
after
night?
That was
paint
paint
It
night.
was
Yeah.
not paint night, no, because
No,
I
no?
was there and I didn't go to paint.
It was for someone's birthday, and I remember everyone at the bar, even people I didn't know, were just like, "This is the most disgusting, foul-smelling thing ever." And the entire bar cleared out, and I was able to keep a straight face for the majority of the night, and then I just lost it.
I mean, I wish my cousin was here because he has the greatest crop dusting story of all time, but no one can outdo this. He crop dusted Mar-a-Lago and the president.
Oh, Jesus.
Nice.
It was
Former
the best smell
president.
I've ever smelled
Right,
in my
Secret
life.
Service
Best
to go after him.
smell smells.
His smell was huge. But yeah, it was bad. I remember that. People were like, what does that smell?
Who did that?
Walked away.
Who ripped ass?
Well, Andrew, remember when
I can tell you it wasn't me.
It smells like
Farts-
Putin.
My
Putin.
farts are silent. They're not
Putin's
deadly.
in the house.
So the next headline in Are You Fucking Kidding Me? Or I Weigh K. How do you
I weigh K.
AYK. Wait, AY
FK.
FKM. Thank you. Jeez. This one happened actually. Yeah.
In English.
He sounded like Lou Holtz.
Well, this one is actually from Orlando. Go figure.
Good country.
It's Matt's favorite country.
Wait,
I don't
hold
know if
on. Wait, I'm sorry. When Matt and I were kids, Matt always thought you could take a cruise to the Poconos. Like I was the younger brother, so I was like, "That sounds great! Like, why don't we?" Do
It sounds like a tropical
And my
location.
parents are like, "We should put our kids into like a different school. Like, we should help them out."
Oh my god.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's in the mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
realize
learned that after I got made
yeah.
fun of in third grade.
This I don't know if you guys have seen this video from a while back, and if you're listening, you might have heard about this lady. That her trial has been pushed back, but she got a DWI for riding a motorized luggage through the Orlando airport recklessly. She originally got into a fight with police officers in the terminal, and she had one of those luggages. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. You could sit on it. It's like a scooter.
yeah,
It's motorized. I know, right? And she drove it through, but was like hitting people all over the airport. She was drunk as shit. So they asked her to please stop. And then she made the cops chase her through the airport on the motorized luggage, and they're running after her. The video is priceless. If you're listening, go look it up. But she started her trial the other day and said, I'm firing my attorney. And the judge said, you're firing your attorney the morning of your trial. What's your plan? He said, I told him last week I didn't want to continue. Right now, she's being held for a DWI charge and assaulting a police officer, because then when they caught her, she decided to start beating up the police officer. I could play the video, I guess, right? What should I
Yeah,
do?
print it out.
We got it. We got to see it.
Make 'em flip book.
Print it out. Fuck you guys.
Draw it out on a light bright.
And next week's podcast episode is hosted by someone different.
draw it out on a light bright. Oh man. You know, my mom actually found my light bright. I was talking to her about our episode. She's like, "Your light bright's still downstairs."
I want to see
You
your
replace the battery, it still works.
Yeah, that makes sense. She's
creepy
from New
crawler
Jersey.
box.
That's definitely a relic. But let's see if this video will play here.
What airport is this in? Was it in Orlando? Airport?
Orlando International, MCO.
Good airport, by the way. I like Orlando.
Riding a motorized suitcase.
Loudest ad of all time. My God.
Jeez.
Well, the trial for the woman who led police on a chase through Orlando International Airport on that motorized
She is.
suitcase right there.
How fast does this thing go?
Forward. News 6 first told you about the arrest.
Gave the cop the finger.
Police say she appeared intoxicated before she repeatedly spit on an officer who was trying to escort her out. News 6's Maris Badcock was in the courtroom today and has the new developments in this case.
Chelsea Alston's trial was supposed to begin today, but the judge
Badcock.
agreed to push
That's
back
an unfortunate
in
name.
part because Alston
This
showed
is my
up late to
nickname in
court,
high school.
and also she fired her attorney.
I'm asking you a question. What is your plan?
Guy on the right
You're
looks like
firing your
Badcock.
lawyer on the morning of trial. What's your plan? I told him last week that I didn't want to continue.
A public defender will now represent Chelsea Alston as she continues to plead not guilty to charges of battering a police officer and causing more than $1,000 in property
Mask in
damage.
Florida.
Alston originally made headlines when she appeared in a now viral video, first obtained by News 6, that shows her riding a motorized suitcase through the Orlando airport as a police officer on a bicycle followed behind her.
Watch out.
Alston
Wait, there's a
was
guy on a
Pause on
bike
this.
in the
Can we
airport.
pause on this? Hit pause. There's a cop on a bike in an airport. First, that's number one. Shouldn't he be on like a Segway or something? Like a bicycle is not an indoor mode of transportation. Second,
Oh my God.
she's leaving Orlando. Just let her get on the fucking plane. Like, why are you going to chase this woman who's getting on a plane, leaving your state? She's flying back to New Jersey, I assume.
If I assume they get the money for it.
in April when a Southwest Airlines gate agent refused to let her board because she appeared to be intoxicated, officials said.
It's their policy. You just can't be that intoxicated when you fly in a plane, okay?
I'm not that intoxicated.
After an Orlando police
I'm not that intoxicated.
Next time I get pulled over, I'm not
The
that
guy-
intoxicated.
The guy said you can't fly a plane being intoxicated, like insinuating she's
Yeah.
the pilot.
She's the
My fr-
pilot.
I love that the unseen talent here. She's using this motorized scooter like she's riding a mechanical bull. She's got the beer in one hand, her hand on the handle of the other. That's his
what I was-
talent.
officer instructed
DWI.
Alston to return to the main terminal to sober up and book a later flight.
Just
It sounds like Happy Gilmore cursing at the golf ball.
It looks like a New York
Just go to
City
the
subway. No is
Alston rode
mute.
away from the gate on a scooter-like
Rode
electric
away?
vehicle mounted to her luggage.
oh man, that thing kind of goes fast.
The officer repeatedly ordered Alston to leave the secured area of the airport.
Negative, thank you. Can you roll with
Still
me
got the
to
bike
to
in
the
the
main terminal?
monorail.
You can't hang out here. It's a secured area.
But she did not immediately do so. Video from the incident shows.
Chelsea, look at me. Chelsea, look at me. Thank you.
After warning Alston that she could be arrested for remaining in the secure area without a valid boarding pass, Alston appeared to spit on the officer, the video shows.
Did you spit at me? She's gone. She's gone.
Court records reveal Alston
Hit her
spit on the
glass.
officer a second time, striking him in the eye
Stop spitting.
after she was placed in handcuffs.
Do
Like a
not
fucking
spit.
camel.
Alston later ripped apart a fabric headliner inside the officer's patrol car and defecated in the seat, causing an
There we go.
estimated
Let's bring on the podcast.
$1,200
Oh my
in damage,
God.
according
So
to
girls
her arrest
poop.
report.
She ripped. Hold on. She ripped the cushion up and then shit in the cushion of the cop car.
I mean, that's kind of like making a toilet. I kind of
Like a
applaud her for that.
cat.
What I was laughing
Wow.
at, and I was gonna say earlier, when like the judge is like, "What are you gonna do next?" I was hoping she was gonna be like, "I'm gonna supercharge this shit."
Get a bigger battery, you know.
I think
That's really funny.
That question.
I just the whole idea that she's on a motorized piece of luggage. I want to know where to buy this thing.
A lot of people have them. Like when I travel,
Hammaker
there's a
Schlemmer.
bunch.
You know? I would love to see those.
Yeah,
But-
they're pretty interesting.
Speaking of viral videos, I know Andrew, this has been a topic of conversation in the last 24 hours. But I know that you wanted to talk about what happened last night at the Oscars. I'm going to pull up the video though while you're talking.
Oh,
What happened? I didn't see it.
Oh,
yeah. I was gonna do step by step.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Chris Rock versus Will Smith. This is old news at this point, even the day of, right? First off, no one was watching the Oscars. No one even knew the Oscars was on, right? So from the beginning, Chris Rock was on stage about to present an award for Best Documentary Feature. As Chris Rock was talking, he made a joke towards Will Smith's wife, Jada, saying he can't wait to see her in G.I. Jane 2, referring to her shaved head. The camera show Will Smith laughing, who then looks at Jada just sitting there shaking her head. And just for context, Jada last year shared publicly that she has alopecia.
Alopecia.
Yep, which is characterized as a rapid hair loss on the scalp. A brief pause occurs and the cameras facing the stage show Will Smith casually walking up to the stage and approaching Chris Rock. Will Smith gets on stage and just absolutely rocks Chris Rock across the face. Without hesitation, Will Smith calmly walks back to his seat while Chris Rock just stands there stiff on stage. The best part is during all of this, the crowd was still laughing because they thought it was a bit the entire time. And now from this point on, this information is from an Australian uncensored stream that was making its way around the internet, because if you were watching it live in America on ABC, they actually only showed the visuals, but they didn't have sound. So they just kept showing the camera going back to Will Smith and Chris Rock back and forth. So on that uncensored version, Chris Rock, not really knowing how to react, was just smiling and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Yeah. Chris Rock was just smiling, and Will Smith, he just said, "Wow, I'm having one of those brain tumors again."
We could just play the video.
No. But he just said, "Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me." And then Will Smith then goes, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Chris Rock replies, "It was a G.I. Jane joke." And then Will Smith again says, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth."
So this is how we know Andrew has the entire home to himself.
And now the awkwardness settles in for everyone in attendance, as there is not a fucking sound in the entire theater at this point. Immediately after, the internet erupts in reaction. People online begin debating if this was a bit or if this was real. People who claim to be directors online chime in and say that the camera work between Will and Chris was too perfect to be real. Others were showing slow motion footage of when Will rocked Chris in the face and said, "No, that's actually completely real." Quickly, it becomes more and more clear the incident was in fact real. Now, this is where it gets good. Shortly after, Will Smith wins a fucking Oscar for Best Actor for his role as King Richard and has to give a speech. Now, this is my favorite part. It gets even better. My favorite part of all this is in the never-ending speech that Will Smith gave. It was very emotional, and through all of that, he not once thanked his wife.
Oh my!
Well, there's some history there.
Before we chime in, let me show the video. But honest to God, that was the greatest performance I've ever seen. You deserve a Best Actor right there. That was a great Chris Rock impression.
Do you know why Will Smith hit Chris Rock with the open hand?
Why?
Because paper beats rock every time.
All right, you're.
Wow! Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
ウィル・スミスにやられました。
Wow, dude! It was a G
I love Lupita Nyong'o's face back here. Like, oh shit, this is really happening. Oh, okay.
G.I. Jane joke.
G.I. ジェーンのジョークだったんです。
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, Anthony. One more thing. People don't realize this. They're not talking about this because of this incident, but maybe 10 or 20 seconds after all this happened, I'm not going to name who it was, but there was a nip slip in the crowd too. So there was like a whole 80 seconds of just fucking chaos all of a sudden going on at the Oscars.
What I wanted to say here, and this is kind of what I have a lot of points on this. I know we all do. Right there, I got to give Chris Rock a ton of credit because he was about to go in hard on this man. You could hear him say, like, I could, and he just, I think someone said something in his ear, like, yeah, maybe don't. Shut the fuck up, move on, do the award. But like this little moment where one of the greatest comedians of all time.
Okay.
Like I could end you so bad right now. Oh, and then
Well,
he just
Anthony, I heard that
That
what he was
was,
about to say. Oh, sorry.
Great.
No, what he was about to say was he was going to say the guy's name who his wife cheated on him. Well, not cheated, the open marriage thing. That it became
Greatest night in the history of television.
テレビ史上最高の場面でしょうか。
So we are here
For our foreign listeners, we also have
to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out.
I think this
I
video
give-
has more views than the Oscars.
I have to give Chris Rock a ton of credit though because he handled it so beautifully, and truly like that split second. I remember watching the recording, like, oh, I really wish he would have went. I really wish he would have went in on him right there, but
The Oscar goes to Chris Rock for taking that slap.
He ate it. He ate that slap. He barely reacted to it too.
Yeah, that's what it was.
This whole thing is a hoax. This is fake.
Please elaborate.
This is staged.
I
Yeah, go
kind
ahead.
of agree
So-
with Greg because
so-
look at Will Smith's face as he walks away. He's kind of like smiling, like laughing. He just did it. I don't know. If I
The
was
whole,
that man,
thi-
I'm
the
not
whole
smiling.
thing, start to finish, just screams hoax. You have to look back. The Oscars has been on a viewership decline for the past 12 years. They try and do crazy shit, and they try and make it work, and try and get people excited for the award show. Meanwhile, I didn't know the Oscars were on. I didn't know Will Smith was in a movie last year. I didn't hear anything about the movie King Richard. Didn't know it was that good.
Very
Plus,
good,
you have
actually.
to look at it like this. Chris Rock is telling the jokes. Everybody is laughing except for Jada Pinkett Smith.
He was kind of laughing too, though, at the
He
beginning.
laughed at the
She's
joke.
like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Hold on.
But then
Will laughed
Smith
at the
is-
joke.
No, you shut up.
Yeah.
Will Smith is laughing. He's like, this is funny. He's having a good time, and then he just like looks over and he's like, you know,
G.I. Jane is pissed.
no.
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to slap Chris Rock for this? And she's like, hell yeah, you are. And he's like, all right, let me get up there and slap him. 2, he's an action movie actor, like through and through. They know how to slap people, they know how to punch people and make it look real. You even see Chris Rock like getting ready for it in the slow-mo version. Plus, we just listened to the Japanese feed. So apparently our feed cut out in the United States, but like that's not how TV really works, because you don't just like allow like the feed out to another like broadcaster. They control everything that goes on there. So they definitely knew this was happening, so they were able to like kind of like play it up a little more.
Yeah, but
So,
that YouTube video could have just been like some from some other country that didn't edit it, and then they were just like dubbing it over in whatever language it was filmed in.
right, but the
So I
feed was cut out last night. The live feed was cut out.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really care,
was.
to be honest, like to watch it.
I don't
Like,
care either. I didn't
I didn't
watch.
even know it was on. I woke up this morning. I'm like, what? Like the Oscars was all over the news, and I saw it, and I was like, oh shit. But, like,
this-
first of all, what was funny is I watched like the before, the during, and the after. So like before, we all know what happened with the joke, and then he smacks him, and apparently it was real. Like sources confirmed it was real. But what's so funny and ironic to me is that after Will Smith wins an award for Best Actor, I feel like if this was anybody else, they would have taken the Oscar away from him for doing that. Secondly, he's trying to promote like love and kindness with whatever he was in his speech, yet he just slapped the shit out of Chris Rock, like on public TV. Like, what kind of message does that send you, psychopath? Like, seriously, like, I wish I had that clicker pen that he had in Men in Black just to erase his memory because that was ridiculous. That was so ridiculous.
Matt, I have to agree. There's a lot. If you follow the Will Jada story, I just think this is a very, I'm with you, Greg. It's a very unique time for him to finally stand up after his wife has embarrassed them, their whole family, their marriage, everything on their talk show. And now he decides that because Chris Rock made an innocent joke, first of all, and listen, alopecia is a thing and I get it. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but no one's died of alopecia. I get it. She's losing her hair and it's tough. And it's a horrible thing for a woman to go through or anyone to go through. But that's the thing that broke you, Will, not the fact that she fucked one of your son's best friends, like not the fact that she then broadcasted it all over the world on her red table talk. Are you kidding? That's the thing. So you storm up on stage because you're an adult and you're powerful and you're going to defend your family now. And then I'm with you, Matt, that speech at the end with the whole, oh, I want to be a vessel for love and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you just smacked the shit out of one of the world's greatest comedians and he's pouring his eyes out.
Good acting. Like if that was fake, because you deserve that Oscar after that performance. No, it's all right. Then I'll let Andrew go. Or Brian, who were coddling him after. Like, it's okay, Will. Like, come here, let me give you a hug. It's like that bully that beats up everybody in third grade and the teacher gives him attention because that kid has emotional problems at home. So you're like, okay, let me just give this kid a hug because he has problems. That was Will Smith last night at the Oscars.
Yeah, or the person who rear ends you in high school, then they'll go cuddle the person that drove into your car with the fucking pickup truck.
Yeah, Andrew.
Wow.
Just want to rehash that real quick.
My God.
Wow.
That's okay. I still love you, Andrew. I don't know. I still think this thing is to an extent hoaxed. Like if you see the beginning of it, he walks up and Will Smith even's like, "Oh, here comes Richard," because I haven't seen the movie, but apparently Richard Williams was like I don't know if it was anger issues or whatever, but like he was like almost like playing the part, and and he was like, "Oh, he's like, here comes Richard," and then smacks him, and as he was walking away, he's kind of like smirking and laughing. I'm not someone to get into fights, but like unless you're like crazy, I feel like you don't smile and you walk away if you just did something. I just think the whole entire thing is like a complete hoax.
Wait.
Now, what?
Sorry, I literally just got a notification on Instagram that Will Smith just wrote a public apology on his Instagram story.
But see, this is what I was gonna say. I still don't trust that that's real. You could do this all for show, and that's why I have no faith in anything in like Hollywood driven or anything like this, because he can come out and be like publicly, "I'm really sorry, guys. I shouldn't have done this." If it was real or not, you're never gonna know the end of it.
You making a public apology for slapping that the guy that was interviewing him on the red carpet one time? No, probably not.
Because that was real.
It was.
I'm gonna drop this really quick.
So I mean, my opinion, I'm gonna give both sides to it. So first, like you all said it, I mean, his wife has made a joke of their marriage and their family with all the stuff she did with that red table talk. I mean, first of all, who airs that type of dirty laundry in front of an audience unless you want attention? Because that's all she was probably seeking at that moment. But if you look at it when it happens, it's one of those moments where we all had a moment with our significant others where someone makes a joke and we laugh, and then we see their face and we're like, shit, we should not laugh. Whether it's a significant other or just a friend. And you realize that that person's feelings are hurt and you shouldn't laugh anymore. Maybe do something about it. So chances are that's probably what happened. He just snapped at that moment and he just went up there and had a moment of just complete and utter thoughtlessness and smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. And then he realized it after the fact. But let me give the reason why it could be a hoax. Leading up to that moment, the Oscars was doing worse in viewership than it was the previous year, where it had the worst ever viewership amount. It was less than I think it was last year total of 10 million viewers, and then prior to that moment, it was only like 9 million. And then after the slap occurred, viewership doubled, according to statistics. So you're looking at an award ceremony that's people are getting sick of celebrities and all their BS and everything. So no
The
one's
fact that they
watching
got
it anymore.
$100,000 gift bags while the world is burning. Yeah.
That too. People could care less about celebrity opinions. Everyone's starting to realize the bullshit that they spew out of their mouths on a daily basis. So no one's watching it. And then Chris Rock gets slapped. And not just slapped, bitch slapped. Let's say it how it is. He got bitch slapped on national audience. Everyone sees on their Twitter and social feed, someone just got slapped. They're going to check it no matter who got slapped. So right then and there, that staged incident probably saved them from losing money on the Oscars. So, it's overall, I'm going to say could have been a hoax. I'm like 70% hoax, 30% not hoax.
I have a question for the group. Now, Chris Rock has done the Oscars numerous times. Would this have happened? And if it did happen, I can almost guarantee that this comedian probably would have swung back. But if that was Ricky Gervais,
I thought you were going to say Louis C.K. He would have just
no.
masturbated in front of him.
But Ricky, hold on, because Ricky Gervais has hosted the Oscars and historically burns them down, like rips people to shreds every year. Do you think that this happens the same way if Ricky makes? Because Ricky would make that type of joke. He'd probably be worse.
I think he would have continued
He says worse
his jokes. He would have just kept rolling on with it and been like, you know what? I'm not going to stop. I feel like Ricky would have just like leveled it up a notch and just like went hard on the both of them.
I don't think it would have been
his dick at him.
Yes.
Well, supposedly the joke wasn't scripted. Like he just went off and just said it. The G.I. Jane thing. That's what I was reading, that he just went off the cuff and just said it. So it wasn't part of rehearsals or anything.
If Ricky Gervais were to be doing this, it wouldn't be like I'm not trying to say like Ricky Gervais is highbrow humor or something like that, but I don't think when he does the Oscar type award shows, his go-to is not to make fun of one person and their medical condition. It would be to make fun of the entire room and call them all privileged, spoiled, uneducated, kind of do nothings. Like that's his route.
What he did in the last Golden Globes, pretty much.
Well, yeah, they haven't invited him back because he burned them. He scorched earth them really well. My thought is, though, do you think Ricky Gervais would have swung back at him?
No, I don't think.
I think he would have ducked it. I think he would have went quick like duck, and that would have been it.
Yeah,
that could also be why it's a hoax, because you see someone walking up to you like that,
especially if you just made fun of their wife.
You gotta keep your hands behind your back holding the card. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't think he thought, if it's real, I don't think in that environment Chris Rock has a thought of this dude's gonna hit me where there's millions of viewers watching me on national television,
thousands,
worldwide television.
When there's tens of viewers.
Will Smith, also Will Smith, no less, who's got that good guy image. He's had it since he was DJ Jazzy Jeff.
I don't think he has a good guy image.
Yeah, he does.
No,
I
he
don't
doesn't.
think so, dude.
I think he does.
I don't think so.
He was in a movie called Bad Boys. I think he's a bad boy.
And Bad Boys 2 and 3.
Wait,
And
why
now
do you think he
4.
has why do you think he doesn't have like a good guy image?
And he doesn't. I just wouldn't have like when I think Will Smith, I don't think like good guy, like not necessarily like good guy, bad guy. When I think like good guy image, I think like
Chris Rock.
Goody Two Shoes.
I think of like Chris Rock. When I hear the name Chris Rock, I'm like, okay, like he's probably like a nice guy, like a genuine.
I mean, he
like, good
cheated on
person.
his
I would
wife
agree.
numerous times.
And so is Tiger Woods, and say everyone's like, I love Tiger. I mean, I love Tiger because
I know. I'm saying, like, I just think I don't think there's a such thing as a good dude. I think everyone's got their flaws. I don't think Will Smith is this Hollywood good guy, though. I don't see.
I'm not saying he's
that.
a Hollywood good guy. I'm just saying, like, I view Chris Rock as someone. I'm like, Chris Rock, Will Smith. I'm like, okay, like, seems like a good, down to earth, genuine person, regardless of what he's done. It doesn't define you as a person.
At the end of the day, we're all humans. Like,
I mean, it kind of does. Like, what you do kind of does define you as a person.
Yeah,
I just
to an extent.
My thought too on this it's the Oscars. I get it. Let's say it's real, and I don't know where I lean with it. Whatever. Hollywood's a bunch of assholes. I don't really care for any of them, but I do like Will Smith. I think he's a good actor. I think he's a great Instagram follow. His biography is really good. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's had a really, really great career, and he's done a lot for the community. Like, he's not a bad dude. I just think that there is also this standard that celebrities are held to. If this was any other circumstance and a random dude at a party where someone said something about someone's wife and he got smacked in the face, it would be a non-issue. But because it's Will Smith on stage, Chris Rock, it takes over the news cycle. I know Chris Rock didn't press charges, right? They said he didn't press charges.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't, no.
Yeah, he didn't press charges. He declined to press charges.
The Academy is saying they're going to check their bylaws and their rules and California law to see if he's broken any rules. And obviously he has, because that's assault. So
Harvey Weinstein didn't break any rules.
That's assault, brother.
Kevin Spacey didn't break any rules.
Yeah, you fucking kidding me?
If they get to keep their Oscars and they take away Will Smith's Oscar for that, you can't get any worse optics than that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really know if I agree with that, because there's fights. I'm not including hockey, but there's fights in sports all the time. Like A-Rod and Veritek was the one that comes to my mind. Who's the guy on the Browns who threw his helmet at the quarterback, basically?
Oh, Myles Garrett.
So,
I mean, shit like that happens all the time. I don't think it's a celebrity thing. I don't want to.
That's sports, though.
This
is.
I know you have to assume some level of violence in any sport, right? But like if you're at a Hollywood elitist party where they're all kissing each other's asses, like you don't expect that to happen.
If he doesn't,
Honestly, the fact that we're talking about for this long bothers me.
But if that's true about Chris Rock thinking about that joke or like in the moment, but my first thought was like, man, whoever wrote that joke for Chris Rock is probably going to be found in a dumpster later tonight. But but
it wasn't even that bad.
No, but like the only reason why I really think it's real, because I was with you guys, I thought it was fake. But then I saw a video of someone who was actually in attendance from the upper deck. It looked like they were doing like a video, and it was Denzel Washington, and I forgot who the other guy was.
Bradley Cooper, and the story behind that's a little deep.
Tyler Perry.
Explain the video. You know, if it was Bradley Cooper or Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington, it's showing them approaching Will Smith and Jada, and basically just calming him down. And Will Smith is seen wiping his eyes multiple times. So it's just the one little tiny bit of example where I think it's just a real thing. I don't know. I could be fooled really easily though.
Was it after the slap or after he got his Oscar?
It was during commercial break.
Yeah,
it was right after the slap.
Yeah, it was the first commercial break between, or maybe the only commercial break between the slap and when he got the Oscar.
I just think that he clearly has a lot of other things going on in his life, and like that was just like the pin that popped his balloon, and he just went off.
You know what though? I kind of give if it was real, I give him props. Like a lot of people probably wouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah,
right.
Like, regardless of what he's been through, like he's still sticking up for his wife.
Yeah. I think in the last, what was it, 4 years or so? I think this might have just been him sticking up for himself too.
Yeah.
Like
a good point.
He's defending his wife's honor, but at the same time, it's like, guess what? You're not gonna like just use me as a doormat and make fun of my wife. Like, I'm coming at you.
The history of him and Jada and the shit he's been through, it's been since the 90s with Tupac, and it's been nonstop. And I could totally see, like, some people say that's not a bad joke, but imagine all of that shit and then that happens, and yes, people are pointing out that Will laughed at the joke initially, but when he looked over and saw Jada upset, that just, you see red. Like, you make a bad decision, and he walked up on stage and did what he did. I hope to God that Chris Rock does an entire special and writes the most eviscerating jokes about this whole thing. Because if I'm Rock, okay, I'm not going to press charges, because Chris Rock's kids were in the crowd. Now imagine him as a father with your children in the crowd. You just get slapped by Will Smith on stage in front of your family, and you just brush it off. Like, I give him a lot of credit.
Well, Anthony, it's funny you say that. I heard shortly a little while ago, Chris Rock is going on tour. He is going on a comedy tour soon. So
I'm buying tickets.
I agree, though. They're going to be like in a Super Bowl commercial or something together. It's going to be some sort of advertisement.
They're gonna
Yeah,
headline
they're gonna
WrestleMania.
monetize and capitalize on it.
Next year, they're gonna have probably a segment in the Oscars.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Kanye West
Bunch of
going up pretending to be,
Fuck him. I
jackasses.
hate Kanye.
yeah. That's a whole
Talk
other
about most hated celebrities right now. He's up there.
Oh,
And
don't you ask.
what makes me more annoyed is like everyone always says like he has like mental health problems or like he's got mental issues, and like people make fun of it all the time, and it's like, dude, if he really has a problem, first off, he should be seeking help and like not doing what he's doing, but he's also making millions from it. But like it's I don't know, with the whole entire Kanye thing, it just bothers me for multiple reasons. But the whole entire mental health thing with him like really pisses me off.
I think him, all these celebrities, they get a pass when shit goes wrong. You have so many celebrities that do things that if an average American did them, they'd be in jail. And speaking of that, I know Jake, you were talking about Deshaun a little bit.
Yeah,
Say you will.
So we're talking about all the craziness having Will Smith, Chris Rock last night, but let's get into someone who potentially, I'm gonna say potentially because nothing's been convicted yet.
What's
Not a word.
potentially?
Yeah, what's potentially mean?
Potentially,
can't speak.
intentionally.
It's just
I'm not
it's just as much as sexual makes sense.
I'm not going to make fun of him. I do it way too many times.
All right, so because he's not been found guilty, so I want to make that clear. So this is all potential, but so I'm sure everyone here has heard of Deshaun Watson and who he actually is. So for those who don't know, professional football player, one of the best of his generation, multiple All-Star games, All-Pro games. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. All-Pro games. Considered one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. He just signed the richest, most guaranteed money in football history. 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. Gets every cent of it, including a signing bonus that's worth nearly $45 million. Deshaun Watson has also 22 cases of sexual misconduct filed against him by massage therapists. He's also had 2 grand juries that declined to press charges. And then on top of that, the Browns, when they signed him, they didn't interview any of the women who've alleged sexual misconduct. They didn't reach out to the lawyer for any of them. Watson continues to deny any wrongdoing. And on top of this, Browns ownership wasn't at his press conference.
Mhm.
So we're talking about how, well, Anthony mentioned it perfectly, how celebrities get held to this godlike status, yet we're okay with someone who has allegedly sexually assaulted 22 different massage therapists signing the richest contract in NFL history. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Definitely a double standard across like every industry, because there's a lot riding on these people, and a lot of what not goes into it, but what comes out of it is just like how we were discussing this Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. How much are people talking about it? How are people interpreting it, and how are they reacting to it? You hear about, Deshaun Watson getting this huge deal for millions of dollars, but how many people outside of sports broadcasting, podcasters, sports fans are talking about it? And honestly, I'm not big into sports. I just stopped watching football because didn't really care anyway. I really never heard about Deshaun Watson's wrongdoings that often, but now you hear about this multi-million-dollar deal. Now you hear about it. So it's like they're gonna kind of like maybe brush it under the rug or try and keep him from getting prosecuted because, like I said, there's so much riding on it.
Yeah, look, so me and Jake are Jeff fans, so we have kind of been in that Deshaun Watson rumor last year before everything happened. So once all that started coming out, I think Jake would agree. The second all that information started coming out about Deshaun Watson and all the cases, I wanted no part of him on the Jets. I don't care how good he is, how generational he is. I can't root for a player like that. And something that happened just recently, also with the Jets. So I'll be very honest with it. So the Jets were in rumors to get Tyreek Hill. And for some context, there was 84 minutes from when the rumor first started to when he eventually got traded to the Dolphins. But in those 84 minutes, I was really excited to get Tyreek Hill. And if anyone doesn't know who Tyreek Hill is or what his background is, he's been alleged to have broken his child's arm. He's been in previous domestic cases so bad to the point where he got drafted in the 6th round out of 7 rounds in the NFL draft. Like, he's the best wide receiver. So no wide receiver should ever go that late in the draft. To be very, very honest, he's a piece of shit, Tyreek Hill. But when he was rumored to go to the Jets, I was extremely excited for that because we need a wide receiver, right? But if it went longer than the 84 minutes, if it went overnight, I think Jake would agree also. I think the tune for Jet fans would have been a little different. I think Jet fans would have felt a little dirty, kind of hoping this guy was on the Jets. It would have been really tough. If Tyreek Hill wound up on the Jets, it would have been really, really tough to root for this guy, especially with the cases, like I said, where he's alleged broke his child's arm. That shit just drives me crazy with these players.
But that's the problem. I personally, I'm not a big sports fan either. I'm a bigger hockey fan than any other sports fan out here. But that's the problem that I have with football, basketball, baseball, is how much money these people make. And the reason, and I understand it, and I think it's a problem with society, is that we allow it to happen. People look at sports as entertainment and an escape from their daily stress, their daily jobs, their real life problems with their families, work, whatever it may be. They're willing to pay for this because it's entertainment to them. And I understand that. And I'm completely fine with people paying money to be entertained and try to escape things. But when you have people that are flying under the radar and getting off with things that any average normal citizen would not get away with, that's where I have a problem with it. You start taking the money away from all these people, and maybe it'll make it less. They'll stop committing less crimes, stop doing less drugs, spending it on stupid shit. But like it's I think it's more of a problem with society than it is with like the actual athletes. Like, I mean, parents are now having their kids try to get sports scholarships going to college and everything else rather than like focusing on school, which I think is great if you can. But again, it should not be that huge discrepancy between salaries and like what the average person makes, because these people get away with like murder, literally.
It's, I think that Brian, you took the words right out of my mouth. There's the problem with this whole thing is you have a league that historically does not care about their image. You just look at this, ready? You have a player in Calvin Ridley who bet he got suspended a full season. And you have Deshaun Watson, 22 cases of sexual assault and misconduct against him. And he's got a 5-year, $230 million contract. But just to give you some stats on this, and Brian had said he's a hockey fan, the NHL has the best behaved players by a wide margin. Baseball players have the second lowest arrest rate and very few violent crimes. Most MLB arrests are usually DUIs. The smallest league of the 4 major sports league is the NBA, but basketball players have the highest arrest record of the 4, with domestic abuse as the top offense. The NFL, which is about 8,500 something players or whatever, I don't know the total number of players. There are currently 871 convicted felons, and the vast majority of them are domestic abuse, sexual assault, and battery as the cases against them and charges against them. That's nearly 10% of the players in that league convicted, and of those convicted, nearly half of them of domestic abuse.
And 100%, Anthony, that's phenomenal facts. And all I'm going to say, bringing it back to hockey, Connor McDavid is the highest paid hockey player, and his contract was for 8 years, $100 million. That's 3 years more than Deshaun Watson, and less than half.
But the money thing comes down to how much money the sports generate too, though. Like, hockey just doesn't generate as much money as the National Football League does.
Their season is also longer. He's working more days per year.
Yeah, and he's just a more violent of a sport, and it's absolutely, I agree.
He's probably actually playing more than Like
Oh,
if you
yeah.
broke it down minute to minute, even just in one game, minute to minute. But also you have to look at that. Like I think you raised the topic of is this a society thing? And I think it definitely is, because look at how these leagues are made up. The NFL is probably what, 99.9% Americans. Meanwhile, you look at the NHL and you have a lot of guys from
Russia,
Canada, from
Sweden,
Eastern
yeah.
Europe, from Russia, and their societies are very different. So I think there's definitely a lot to be said of where you're seeing your talent pool come from and how they're going to act.
And see, the big problem with the whole Deshaun Watson thing too is it's not so much that the Browns were trying to get him, which they did. It's because, like, you know, other teams were trying to get him. So that's not a really big deal. It's the fact that the Browns, to get over the top of every other team, were like, hey, we'll give you $230 million fully guaranteed, which is absurd. That doesn't happen in football. All these football players constantly get like 70 million 5-year deals, but really it turns into like a 1-year $15 million deal. Like there's so many incentives and they could get released anytime. The fact that 230 million fully guaranteed, that means they could cut them next year and still get that money. It's a historic deal. The fact that they did that on top of these allegations that are still going on, it's, if I was a Browns fan, it'd be really, really tough to root for them.
So, and then one thing I want to add about the contract, because you just reminded me, I left it out. So obviously 230 fully guaranteed. The first year of his contract, he's only getting paid $1,035,000.
So they know he's going to get suspended.
Exactly. The Browns signed him, gave him this contract, but only gave him a little over $1 million with the full expectation he's probably going to get suspended.
Here's my problem with it, though. If his suspension is not longer than Calvin Ridley's, the league has a serious issue. You have Adrian Peterson beat his child, got like 4 games. Ray Rice never played again. But you got Kareem Hunt. He beat his girlfriend in the hallway. He got like 6 games. It's bullshit. And you got somebody who played. He wasn't even playing last year, Calvin Ridley, and he wasn't even betting on Atlanta games.
Tom Brady, flat footballs, 4 games.
He literally cheated. And he got 4 games. It just pisses me off because this guy's not going to get, he might get a season-long suspension. He might, because he voluntarily didn't play last year. That was the thing. Like, people mistake that. Oh, he didn't play last year. No, he voluntarily did not play. He needs to be suspended regardless. But here's the other problem. There's a league, right? The NFL, where you had Robert Kraft get arrested and caught getting a Nuru in Jupiter Beach, Florida, and nothing happened. So just, I don't think a lot's going to happen here. And although there's 22 cases, I'm sure some of them are not real. Let's give the guy some credit. Maybe some of these women are seeing a very rich man and they try to take advantage of it. But that's huge. So but I can't. Anyway, it's an interesting kind of look at society, though. I think, Greg, you had a good point that most of the players in the NFL come from this country where crime is a really big problem, and it's very much brushed under the rug for these athletes throughout school. Like, when you're a good athlete, you're not going to class, and you get things all of a sudden buried for you. And I think in other countries, you're right, because even the MLB, the biggest problem in the MLB is drugs and alcohol. And a lot of these players are coming from South America, Central America, where drugs are huge. And yeah. So, well, I'm sorry, what?
Don't they use the thing on the hand too? What is it called? A tar, whatever it is.
Oh, the pine tar.
Pine tar.
Yeah.
That's not that big a deal. That's like,
I know, I was kidding.
That's just getting an upper hand on teams trying to win, trying to make money is the name of the game. You're trying to maintain that high level of operability.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, it's
I also, what I get annoyed about is, again, it goes back to me, it's a society thing. Like, you have these people making this much money, then you have people who are actually making a difference to society. Like, especially in today's day and age with COVID, nurses getting laid off when they didn't have the vaccine. Then you have these people who have, 22 accounts of whatever it is, getting $230 million guaranteed. Like, that's something wrong with society. But again, it's because
the National Football League is the National Felon League.
Yeah, people idolize these people, and you know what it is? It generates money.
I know.
And I'm a victim of it too. Football is not just my favorite sport, but it's my favorite thing in the world. And I hate to say it, it does suck, but I love football still. But I can't root for someone like Deshaun Watson and Tyreek
Well,
Hill.
think of how many people stopped watching it because during the national anthem of the athletes were taking a knee. Like a lot of people stopped. Like my father-in-law was like, I don't watch it as often because they're doing things that I disagree with. And he's like, and I come to watch football for entertainment, not politics. And then it gets roped in, and a lot of people stopped watching it. Watch next year, you know, Will Smith is going to be smacking Chris Rock on the 50-yard line. Views go up.
You know, it's funny. It's an interesting thing that I think's happening throughout this country. Of you look at the National Football League and they don't care, and then you have athletes that they stand on their soapboxes and they talk smack about this country. And I get it. There's a lot of problems in this country. The country's not. You know, when they say there's things wrong in this country, there's problems with racism. There's problems with social divides. There's problem with money and economics and people's rights. Absolutely. But you take somebody like Brittany Griner, gets arrested. She's locked up in Russia right now for weed. And she's begging her country to help her after she spent the last 3 years bashing her country. And it's like, oh, so now you need the government and now you need the people you just completely crapped on for the entirety of your last season and your career. And now all of a sudden you have some, you know, you're apologetic and all these things. I just think it's when you live here and you don't have experiences living in other countries, or you don't come from another place, it's very easy for people to be spoiled and think, okay, it's my right now while I carry around my Starbucks and my iPhone and my $400 Nike sneakers to complain about this country. And then you see what's going on in other ones, and athletes are the worst at it. They talk about oppression, but they support China. They talk about, you know, they want more civil rights and more freedom of speech, and we should be able to protest. And then they go to Russia and they get locked up for a bag of weed. And they're like, yeah, things are worse outside of this country.
Because a lot of, and like you said it, I think too, it's the way people bring their children up in society, our education system, and what people are taught. I work with someone who is from a different country and knows more about my culture and America and American history and all of everything else because it's how they're taught in school. They're more strict with their students, more strict with their kids, and like it just boils down to like how our education system, I think, kind of like, I don't know.
Evidenced by none of us being able to complete a sentence.
Yeah.
I'm stuttering all over trying to tell stats. Brian can't.
But I do. I think it's a big thing coming from the parenting too, like parenting and like what we're taught in school.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, whether you agree or not with his policies and his political approach, this to me is genius, and it should be implemented nationwide, and it should have been decades ago. Like, so Ron DeSantis signed a bill, I believe, Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that he's requiring students to pass financial literacy tests before they graduate high school. We were taught to play fucking hot cross buns on the recorder, but we didn't know
In
how to
high
balance
school?
a fucking checkbook. No, I'm just saying.
You
in
took
general.
different classes.
Yeah. I really believe that should be implemented nationwide. It's something that nobody teaches you, and you rely on your parents to teach you these things because they don't teach this to you in school. And this is the first real reality check once you graduate high school and you start to get your own credit card when you're 18 and a debit card and you start to buy your car. No one teaches you how to manage this shit. And so you're set up for failure. Everyone cares about SAT scores and how you're doing to get into these colleges, but they set you up to get into debt, and they want you to be in debt. It's just, I don't know. It's just so ridiculous to me that no one
I
else
think you're
does it.
absolutely right, man. I completely agree with you.
Being a former educator and now being in that world too.
Now he's a master's debater.
Hey, I'm really good at it too. But it's interesting because it's only mandated in like 6 states now. I think 7 with Florida. But all around the world, it's mandated throughout entire countries. We're like one of the only countries that doesn't do it. And when you look at the way our public education system is designed, kids could go out tomorrow. They'll get denied for getting a tattoo that's too stupid because they're 16, they need parental consent. But at that same age, 16, 17, they can take out 240 grand of student loans. And no one teach them about them. No one teach them the consequences when you get out of school. And like, think about it. The first people to say happy birthday to you on your 18th birthday is a credit card. Like they just throw it in your face. They don't explain it to you. They don't teach these things. And I think I'm proud to be a Florida resident right now. I don't have kids yet, but to know that that's mandated in our state is awesome, because I want my kids to get the best of both. Now, the key is who's teaching it, because most of the teachers don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be another certification. It's just like being certified in history or English or special needs or gym.
But and I think
phys ed.
Jim. It needs to be taught, and I think it's not even just for kids. I think a lot of people, like even older adults, don't have that knowledge, and I think it's, maybe from the education system where they're brought up, or just whatever it may be. But man, I completely agree. It should 100% be taught in even high school, even some college classes. It should be like one of your core classes.
It's always a touchy subject too, no matter who you talk to about it. Anytime money or finance comes up, it's always a touchy subject, and people are like, oh, well, we don't talk about this. But like, you can't be that blind to it, because the majority of this country is financially illiterate and they don't know how to manage their money. They just don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what you guys saying, but I think one of the biggest problems with the education system is we're not being prepared for exactly what you just said. We're not being prepared to handle financial responsibilities in any real aspect of it. We're being taught things that, some of it matters, obviously, but in other things we're being told it doesn't fucking matter. And then everyone's being put in a position where we have no financial knowledge going into life. And it all comes down to, I think, right now, education system is being told in a way that all it cares about is bottom line, grades, and who's passing, and just moving forward, and that's it. And no one cares about pushing people forward.
It's weird. I'll be honest. Like if this was going on, if we had these options in high school when we were in high school, I think it would be, for me personally, in 1 year out the other. Because you're 17 years old at the time and you're not really thinking that far ahead. I love the idea that needs to be in schools. I'm not saying that, but I feel like a lot of students are just not gonna.
Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true though, Andrew, because I think back when we went to school, yes, that would have been true. But now with technology, every teenager has a Coinbase account and they know NFTs and they're talking about day trading. And you got Davey Day Trader, who's a sensation for the younger guys. I mean, all of us, when he talks about the stocks and stuff. So I think now is the best time to do it, because I do think kids are more likely to listen than they were when we were like, I agree with you. I think when we were in school, crypto wasn't a thing. We weren't learning about this stuff. We weren't talking about money. I mean, I just wish, like, but you think about it too. If, like, here's a great lesson just to think about that I wish somebody would have taught me. $1,000 is only 9 doubles away from $1 million.
Yeah, but how many? That's a lot of money to get to $1 million, dude.
Yeah, no, but just when you say it like that, it's like, right, okay, instead of buying them, like when you talk about it, we talk about like kids graduate school and they go buy a Mercedes, or the parents buy them a Mercedes. How about you take $1,000 and go invest it?
Well,
it just the difference.
Here's $500. Go double it 10 times, and you're a millionaire.
So here's another problem too. This goes back to what Brian's point was saying before about how it's a societal issue. More people are concerned about what type of car they drive. Like, oh, I drive a Mercedes or a BMW or a Corvette or whatever it is, but you have like $300 in your checking account. Like, if you're smart, you buy assets, not liabilities. And like everyone who's driving around these streets, who your parents probably bought you that car if you're 18 years old in high school. Like that, why you like, that's nothing to show off, like that your parents have money or your parents bought you this car. But at the end of the day, if I gave you a book or like, okay, what stocks would you want to pick for me this week? Like, what's going on? They would just look at you with a blank face and have absolutely no idea what to say. Or how are you planning on, saving for your retirement when you get older? No clue. Like, you need to learn these foundational skill sets when you're of that age. That way you can just build upon them as you get older.
I think the biggest thing that would come out of that stuff is exposure to a new topic that someone may not know they're interested in without someone forcing it on them. And B, would probably just be knowing what to avoid. Avoiding debt, avoiding getting 6 credit cards and maxing them all out. And like Matt said, like going out and buying the flashy car and having all the name brand stuff and knowing how to save, just being able to avoid the bad mistakes of what you shouldn't do, which will keep you in the black.
It's interesting too, because Matt, not to bring it back to Chris Rock, I don't know if you guys saw Never Scared, one of his specials from way back, like mid 2000s. He talked about this. He's like, you'll see a dude living in a shack, but he's got a Mercedes outside with rims spinning. Like there's a thing in society where we judge success and wealth by material things and not by financial stability. And when you see celebrities and athletes and this stuff, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy all that nice shit too. Yeah, but you're not Deshaun Watson. You can't throw the football like him. You can't play football like him. You're not Will Smith. You're not these guys. So you need to figure out a way to be financially stable. It's a sad thing because most of the nation isn't. I think right now, statistically, right at the beginning of COVID, 82% of the nation when COVID hit couldn't cover a $400 emergency, which goes to Matt's point. You have a beautiful car in your driveway and $300 in your checking account. It's until we start to talk about it more. The 3 things people never talk about: politics, religion, and money. And they're the 3 topics that people have the littlest information on.
Yeah.
And I think my personal belief on that is it's designed that they want you to not talk about politics. They make it hard for you to even have a civil conversation nowadays.
Isn't that weird?
Religion is not talked about anywhere. Judeo-Christian values are not anywhere in school anymore. They're not talked about on TV. Chris Pratt gets on TV, says, thank God, and they ostracize him for it. And then money, no one has a money conversation anymore. It's like taboo. And then everybody wonders why we don't vote the right way and we have no morals and then we're all broke.
We pay taxes out the ass.
Yeah.
Yep. Indeed we do. I was looking, Anthony, your comment about what'd you say? 1,000 is only 9 digits away from a million.
No, 1,000's 9 doubles away from 1,000. I mean, a million.
Math. I don't even know what that.
9 doubles. So that's 2,000, 4,000, 16,000, 32,000, 64,000, 128,000.
Got it. I was looking at something. I heard something a while ago.
We can all do math.
The difference between a
Think for
million
yourself.
and a billion. Like people don't realize how much different is a million to a billion. So a million seconds is not even a full year versus a billion seconds is almost 32 years. Like if you just took it into like seconds instead of like that, that's, and then you have people that are making, all this money, then it blows my mind.
Yeah, they're saying Elon Musk is going to be the first. He's on track to be the first person to be a trillionaire.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But yet, historically speaking, he's still not the richest human to ever live.
No, wasn't it like a medieval king in Africa?
No, it's Mansa Musa in Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
like worth 10 times if in today's dollars what Elon is worth. But what's crazy is too, have you ever seen the picture of like a million versus a billion? A million could fit right on your desk like this, like a little cube, and a billion's a skid. It's a pallet of money. It's wild to me how much money is out there, and then how little of it we have. It's unreal.
Not to bring sports up again, but that's why most fans usually agree with the players and not the owners. The owners are billionaires, multi-billionaires, and the players are only million.
Yeah, but I don't like at any time when people get behind celebrities like their life is so hard. Come on. I can't listen to them complain anymore.
I mean, look, everyone has their own hardships and things to get through. So I don't disagree with you. I'm not advocating for celebrities and people that are wealthy and better off than others that are saying, oh, I have it so tough. Like, I'm sure they do, but they also aren't fed on a silver plate. Like we're not also fed on a silver plate like they are. So there's definitely some.
So we need to increase regular literacy too, apparently, in this country, because none of us can speak.
I'm still
English 101.
I mentioned phonics before.
Yeah,
this is like Leonardo DiCaprio telling us to switch to renewable energy while he's got a yacht that probably burns more gas than I will ever in my lifetime.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, especially
Speaking of gas,
hospitalized for it.
I just got gas today for $3.77 a gallon.
Woo! Yeah, it went down to $3.99 down here.
Yeah,
I was gonna say New York and Texas is not that different.
It was up to $4.50 like a week ago, probably not even.
I think I paid
Long Beach was around that.
I think I
Long
paid
Beach was around
$450 something yesterday. Cost me over $100 to fill out.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
And then in California, I think it's still over $6 though.
Is
$6
it?
or
Oh, of
650,
course it
something
is.
crazy
It's insane there.
like that. It's wild. And yet everyone walks around like, yeah, we're doing it to take down Putin. You
Yeah, no.
jackasses.
No.
For the record, I am doing the Shaquille O'Neal theory, and I love it. It's better than bringing.
I knew that would come back somehow, some way that would come back into topic.
Wait, are you
Saving a lot
actually
of
doing
money.
it?
Yeah, I'm saving a lot of. I think I'm saving a lot of money.
You're not saving any
Not
money.
saving anything.
This is why financial education is so needed.
What he's doing is dollar cost averaging. I'm sure you've heard that term in relation to cryptocurrencies recently, where you just buy
The same amount always.
Yeah, you buy the same amount always, same dollar amount, and you buy at higher or lower prices, and it keeps your costs down. So that's exactly what he's doing, and he's reaping the benefits.
In the form of a nickel every 3 weeks. In his gas tank. It's ridiculous. You know, it's I think what's nice about our show too is that we get to talk about all the stuff that everybody else is talking about right now. And it's interesting though, because
morons.
But I feel like people are afraid to have these convos with their friends. And I think if you're listening or watching, what you could see here is like how to have civil discourse and differing opinions and different thoughts without trying to murder each other at the same time.
And how the educational system has failed us because we can't speak English, but continue.
Right.
Yeah, we can't speak English.
We're struggling to speak our own thoughts to even try and have an argument with each other.
I can't have an argument without an aneurysm on this podcast. So.
Well,
Andrew argues
doing
Andrew's tongue's arguing with his mouth to get out the words.
Sweating.
He loses every single debate with himself.
Oh man,
He's in the shower just yelling into a mirror.
But Anthony, I think you're absolutely right. I think this podcast and like this, just us talking, can show the different levels that people can have. We've been friends for so many years. We can talk about something so serious and then also switch gears to talk about something so asinine at the same time.
And have different opinions.
Yeah. And all agree to
and watch Matt slowly slip into depression.
We know Jake's episodes on
Well,
TV
Anthony, what do you
shows are
mean
terrible.
slowly? He's already there. Look at him.
I am not here, for the record. Depression is a serious topic, and I don't have it.
What is funny
I do
talking
agree with
about
that.
talking about our arguments? Like we haven't really been arguing so much about these serious topics, but in the past we have not talked to each other for periods of time over the stupidest shit in the past. Shit that doesn't even matter. Shit I don't even remember about.
The important shit.
I mean,
Like
I
when
turned
rear-ended Brian's car. You know, we just didn't
I
talk.
turned in high school. I turned
Drop a
Brian
bomb on
into
everybody.
I turned Brian into Harvey Dent, and he didn't talk to me for about a week.
Oh my
so.
gosh, that's right.
Oh
I forgot
my
about that.
God. I walked into my mom's car facing the opposite way. She's like, "What happened?" I was like, "Nothing."
You were like that guy on
I was
Locked Up
beating
for
a
What?
short kid in a race and he pushed me.
Dude, he had more track on his face than there was on the track.
That
Yeah,
was
brutal.
so bad. Wait, was it the same side of your face that you also busted up when you fell on the curb through the Taco Bell drive-through? Was that the other side of your face?
The curves is talking about drive-through.
Remember
when I
you
got
were
the
doing
stitches?
piggyback ride and you face planted
I
and
got
you didn't want to
stitches?
dump Jack? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't a Taco Bell drive-through. I didn't even make it into the car. We were in the middle of the street.
What side of your was that on the same side of your face?
That was my right eyebrow. I think the face was the left side.
Which eye did the dart go into?
Left.
Which
Which
nostril
side?
did the
Left-
basketball hoop
left-
go into?
Left lip and then the left nose. That's an episode topic one day, is to talk about Brian's facial
Brian's
injuries and
injuries.
stitches.
Brian's not
Jeez.
allowed to even walk 10 feet without falling. Pretty much.
Hashtag StitchBoy31. What's up? Come at me.
I remember that username.
Your name.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was a
But-
serious username.
Yeah.
StitchBoy31 to like a lot of things. Yeah.
His away
Ryan-
must it was like about to get fucking wrecked. Hit me up later.
Dude, I remember
Be back after dinner.
I remember in
Back after
elementary,
this hospital visit.
I remember in elementary school, every time we had our first day of school coming after the summer, it was always like, all right, what's gonna be wrong with Brian's face this year?
Wait,
Like he
Andrew,
always had something going on. Like he threw a dart and like the dart went too far into your eye or something. I remember that, right?
that was Matt. and
The
I were
dart
talking
went
about
into his eye, period. Not too
Yeah.
far.
it. Wait, Andrew.
A dart going into your eye
There's
doesn't
no
matter. It's in your
acceptable
eye.
amount of dart into eye ratio.
You know what? Who's better at handling these things, Chris Rock or Brian?
Brian.
I think
Brian's
Brian's
got the
handled it with more
experience.
grace.
Wait, hold on. So Andrew, I was with someone that we went to elementary school with the other day, and we were like reminiscing. And he said the first day of 5th grade when he transferred schools was the day that I cut my lip off with the scissor. And he walked into school, and there was like chaos. I'm bleeding in the sink and everything, and he's like, "I can't go to school." I was like, "That was your first day?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I walked in, and the classroom was chaos."
You cut your lip off with a scissor? That's
Yeah.
Scratch the
Yeah.
kid.
He didn't do
But
it
how did your
now.
mother? How did your mother let you out of the house?
Oh,
It's
I
ridiculous.
kind of ran away. No, I don't. I don't know.
Reluctantly.
It was
My
it
gym
was-
teacher took me to the hospital.
It was actually crazy how often this kid got injured. It was like the most wildest stories you've never heard. It wasn't like a broken arm. It was always like, oh, he threw a dart in his eye, or oh yeah, a scissor hit his lip. It was always the weirdest
Bro,
thing.
he
Cut
gave
my lip
himself
off.
a fucking nose job playing basketball.
That was by
One of
far
our
the
friends.
worst
That
one.
was crazy. I was
That was
there
by
for
far the
that.
worst one.
He's outside with one of his friends from elementary school, and we lowered the hoop down, and he had the chain on it. He goes
Oh,
to
I
do a
remember
slam
that.
dunk, and the metal S hook clipped his nose, and as it's coming down, it just peeled his nose up, and he comes running in the house, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god! And he's like covered, and my mom, of course, who I love her to death, but she wasn't the best at handling these types of situations. She would just like go
Deal with
into
it.
He wasn't a
sheer-
combat nurse.
you know, she would go into sheer panic, like we
bit.
died, screaming like, oh my god, and that just made him freak out even more. And my aunt's like, well, let me see your face, Brian. So he takes his hand up, and his nose is just like full, and she's like, oh, you're fine, like you're okay. I'm
Wow.
like, he's fucked up, he's not okay.
She was trying to calm him down, and he did the
out.
exact
Yeah.
opposite.
That
you-
one was by far the worst.
Yeah.
Jake, do you remember? And he's not on the podcast. We gotta have him as a guest one day. But do you remember riding your bike? We were riding bikes. We were crossing Newbridge, and I got left behind. You guys ran ahead of me because you were bullying me. You're like, leave the midget behind. And you were all riding your bikes. And then I get back to the house, and everyone's like mortified. I'm like, what's going on? And out comes this kid holding
Yep.
his hand. And then following behind him is another person with a Ziploc bag and ice, and his shirt, which was a white undershirt, is now red, gets in the car, drives off. And I go, I guess we're not playing football. Like, what happened? So the kid was riding his bike to get away from me. Everyone was big
Not
joke.
Brian, by the way.
Let's fuck with me. And he goes to fix his pant leg as he's riding, and his finger got stuck in the bike chain, and it chopped the whole top of his pinky off. So they went to the
Yeah.
hospital with the pinky and him to get it sewn back on.
Someone was
Yeah.
willing to lose a finger to get away from you. That's nice.
For a joke.
Yeah, the best way to describe it is, you ever see a shoelace hanging on an electric wire with the sneaker that's about to fall?
Oh, so bad.
That's the best way to describe what his finger looked like attached
Yeah.
to his hand. It didn't
Oh
look
my
good. But
God.
yes, the highlight of that was we were all just trying to ride away from Anthony because his little legs couldn't keep up with us.
Mhm.
And then,
Very funny.
Training wheels.
yeah, it didn't look good. It was
Yeah.
not good.
Jake, and then another time that you were talking shit to me on the bike track and we were racing, I remember beating you and look behind me. Where's Jake? Oh, Jake's still at the start line with his bike on top of him and his thumb in the chain like this.
Yeah, it wasn't a change. So we were racing our bikes around an open track, and right from the get-go, we take off. And right when it happens, I guess my chain popped off my bike or something, and I happened to flip. And I don't recall a lot of what happened, but I remember coming to,
Blacked
and
out.
my thumb was wrapped around, the spokes of the bike were wrapped around my thumb. So that was fun. I pretty much destroyed my thumb in one setting from riding a
I'm
bike.
surprised you didn't fall into a sandbox like you always did whenever you ran away.
Jake, any single time we would drink and you would run, you would always roll your ankle.
Always fall.
Always
No, not
roll
always
your
roll my.
ankle in a
No, I rolled my
sandbox.
ankle playing handball. And
There's been plenty of times running from the elementary school that you rolled your ankle. too.
Yes, no, there was once. Me and sandboxes and
forget.
running away after events on Friday and Saturday nights never seemed to go well for me. But
Running
I always
away
got
from the cops.
Yeah.
I was trying not to say it, but yeah.
We could be
But-
in someone's backyard and he would find a sandbox to fall into. Every
As
single
good
time.
as
But I
good of
got
friends
away.
as we are,
I
as
got
good of friends
away.
we are, no one stopped to go back for him.
No.
I got away.
It's a dog eat dog world. If I'm not getting arrested, he is.
Listen,
You know
all
what
that
the best
matters
part
I
is?
got away.
As we were all running, after you'd hear the thud, you knew he fell, so you could slow down because he would have got caught and you'd be fine.
There was
But I never
one
got
time-
caught. I said it 10 times already. Never got caught.
There was one time where it happened more than once in one night, and the second time when he fell in the sandbox, he goes, I hear him behind me. He goes, "Oh, not again!"
Oh man,
Just
Yeah.
trademark.
Yeah, I was
Dude.
fully aware of it happening too. It's the worst
Remember
oh
part.
when you-
man.
Andrew, do you remember when you conned Jake into breaking my fire pit?
Oh,
That's such a lie. I never broke it. Andrew thought it would be a great idea. Oh, look at me. I'm holding a keg and just falls on it.
I had my membership at Planet Fitness for maybe 4 months at the time. I was feeling jacked in the upper body, so I picked up an empty keg from Brian's backyard, and I just fell completely backwards into Brian's fire pit. And Jake is walking away like this, like, and Brian's
His
like,
hands up like,
"Jake,
going,
what'd you
"Andrew, what'd
do?"
you do?"
Do you remember how mad I got at you that day?
"Who,
At
me?"
me?
Yeah.
Wait,
Dude,
Andrew or me?
I
People
don't
said
remember.
me.
I ran up to one of you and I was like screaming in your face. I don't remember if it was Jake or Andrew.
It was probably Jake.
No,
Probably
I
not
don't
Andrew,
recall
'cause
that
he
ever
was
getting in my
around.
face.
Definitely
Oh,
wasn't
I
me.
did get Andrew back though, so I got him back for that. So who remembers Matt first birthday going into the city?
Who's Matt?
I'm just gonna
So who
believe
remembers?
that's
So I
great.
got Andrew. I got Andrew back for that. Who remembers going? We went took a party. Bus
I
to
would
see
I
our
would
friend's
say I
birthdays.
remembered that night, but my story that night is a story of its own. So
So let me
I think
sum up.
everyone
real
has their own
quick.
story. Andrew didn't make it on the bus.
No, he did make it on the bus.
God.
Yeah.
So,
he fucking threw up a whole bottle of Jack Daniels.
I-
We were all
I-
21, by the way. All of us.
I was kind of new to whiskey, and I'm to this day like a cheap whiskey fan. I drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniel's honey. Brian and Jake get to our friend's house who we were pre-gaming at, and they just see me sitting down at the table sweating, obliterated. And Jake's like, "Hey man, you all right over there?" And I'm like, yeah.
So
that,
anyway,
that night, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry.
we get on the bus, and I get on the bus first, and I took a trip to Yak City, to say the least. So I quickly close the door. I get out. Everybody gets onto the bus. We get going. I don't remember who it was, but it was someone's wife or girlfriend at the time. Gets in there and starts screaming, "Oh my God, who threw up on the bus?" I sat there. I'm like, well, look at Andrew. He's barely awake, so it must have been him. And all
That's
the
fucked up.
blame got thrown to him,
Terrible
and I'm
person.
sitting there and I'm looking at him like, that's for the backyard at Brian and Matt's house.
I was the scapegoat.
Scapegoat. That night, I remember Nick goes, "Oh, these new things came out. Let's try them." Called Bud Light Platinums. I said, "Yeah, why not? It's Bud Light." And so each of us took a 12-pack to the face. Then I drank about a half a bottle of Grey Goose. That's the last thing I remember. I just remember waking up in an NYU dorm room with a large man next to me. And he's like, "How did I get here?" He goes, "I could mess with you, but your friends dropped you off about an hour ago. It's okay. Don't worry, nothing happened." And you guys picked me up at Washington Square Park, and you're like, "Dude, where you been?" I'm like, "I don't know." And they're like, "Why are you covered in trash?" I was like, "I don't know. I guess I fell in a trash
Wait,
can."
who picked you up? Was I there?
You all picked me up in the party
stopped on the
bus.
way.
Anthony, that's like almost like the same like the Titanic. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember it, but
That night was
Brian, maybe Brian
horrendous.
has CTE.
I
from
might.
all these injuries.
And yo, to this day, I've never seen the inside of Webster Hall. I've never
Oh,
gotten
man,
in.
I was there for that day.
You know
I
what?
never
That,
got inside.
that same night where I almost died with the whole entire Jack Daniels bottle, I was the most drunk person. There was one person on the bus who did not drink at all. He
Yeah.
didn't get in, and I got in.
Mike.
That's how fucked up the
Yeah, it was-
security is.
And Andrew, you had your arm.
Mike
on my
took care
shoulder.
of
I was
me.
pretty much carrying you in.
Yep.
And you
Mike
got
took
it.
care of me that night, and the only reason I know I fell into a pile of trash is because Mike gave up on me and I just left me there. And then Brian's friends from school where Matt's friends from school dropped me off at their friend's dorm room at NYU. That's the last thing I remember.
Was this for Matt's birthday or
It was his
Jack's
21st
Yes.
birthday. Yeah.
Matt's 21st.
It's
I think-
21st because everyone was
I
going
think
to the
we
city
may
for
have
their
dropped you
21st.
off.
I didn't drop him off.
Wait,
Someone he got there somehow. I remember.
No,
just
I know the
riding
two
by-
people. I know the two people that dropped me off because then I messed with them and I bought them. I bought them like a couple drinks the next time I saw them, wherever it was.
okay, no, it wasn't that
you
because
know.
I know a couple of
I
my
felt
friends
bad.
from school were there that night too.
Yeah, no, that was.
Dude.
Without further ado, we have another.
Everyone's favorite segment. We're gonna shoot this over to Andrew to get it going.
No, we're
Because
not.
no one else can do it.
We're not up to that yet.
We are up to that.
Oh, we are.
We're
Yeah.
gonna save. Yeah, I'll cut all
Spotlight's
this
on you,
out.
bro.
We're gonna save that stuff for next time.
All right.
What's that?
This segment is called "Locked Up for What." Members of Guys Night will see a mugshot displayed and will have to guess what they got locked up for. The individual's mugshot that is getting displayed is public record, therefore their privacy is not being invaded. The individual's personal information such as name, date of birth, and location, as well as the actual charge, will not be shared. I don't really have much to say after this, so just throw it on the screen and let's.
Yeah, Anthony, don't say anything this time because you usually
Yeah.
give us like a quick update. Oh, hey,
From the Foo Fighters. Looks like Keanu Reeves.
Oh my
It kind of looks
God.
like David Grohl a little bit. Maybe
It looks like he's trying to do Blue Steel from Zoolander.
If Pirates of the Caribbean was on Broadway, that would be Jack Sparrow.
wow.
Holy shit.
Okay, I have mine.
Joe Dirt meets Jack Sparrow right there.
What did I say to you today when you sent me this picture?
You said
I said that's crack Jesus.
That's correct, Jesus. I have my answer.
I got mine.
The
Who wants to
more
take
more-
this one first?
The more I
Wait,
look
where's
at
his
it, the more
chin?
I laugh. The more I
Let me
look
see,
at it, the
where's
more I
his chin?
laugh.
His right eye is staring at me, and his left eye is staring at the cop taking the picture.
No, one eye's looking in the camera, one eye's looking into next week.
I don't think he sees anything, to be completely honest with you guys.
I think this guy got locked up for running a hair salon without a license.
I'm gonna say he was impersonating Jesus.
I was gonna say this guy was invited to a LARP and he ended up in a White Castle, like dressed up in a full costume and got arrested.
LARPing? Arrested while LARPing?
Arrested while LARPing.
Yeah, I know. I always go with my go-to: something drunk, being naked in some store.
If that's the case, he liked it because look at his face. He's like, oh,
No.
yeah, it was. You
I
fucking
feel
liked
like-
it too,
Oh, man.
Jake.
I feel like he was raping and pillaging with the pirates. I mean, this dude, look at this fucking beard. I will say his beard is perfectly shaven to be like a pirate beard.
No,
I
the
don't
guy from
know.
last week's was perfectly shaven in half. This guy is kind of scraggly going.
I don't know why, but every time I see his face, I picture his voice being the cat from Shrek. Ole.
Puss in Boots.
That is my birthday.
I feel like this is a mix between X-Pac and Dave Grohl.
This guy got caught running naked through a Waffle House.
This is my birthday.
This
That was
guy-
like, this
yeah.
birthday.
That is
You
my
wanna
mother.
fuck, Jake?
That is my name.
Naked, or, drunk,
That is
or
my
on
money.
opioids.
That is my money.
naked in a Wawa.
He
Saying
was
like
he was recording his own episode of Naked and Afraid starring himself.
I think we need to count the amount of predictions that Greg does every time he looks at this. He gets like 10 every
We should just
time.
rename this segment.
He was
Locked Up for
caught.
what?
He was
Greg?
caught trespassing at the taping of America's Next Top Model.
You know who this guy looks like? He looks like one of Joe Exotic's guys. One of the guys who worked on the fucking.
Yeah.
Tiger
Wow,
King.
he kind of does.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
what's
one
that
of the
movie?
Tigers.
I'm gonna fuck this up, but he looks like Rob Schneider in that one movie where he looks exactly like this with the fucking with the lazy
50
eye.
First
What's that?
Dates?
Every
no.
movie he's done.
Isn't that Mr. Deeds?
No, it's
You're thinking
50 First Dates.
Yeah.
They're in Hawaii. Come on.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Believe it or
Oh
not,
my
that's
God,
my
he
good
does.
eye.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Oh my
Handcuffs.
god.
No,
Anyway,
it's Big Daddy. I think I was thinking. About.
well, I this
That's
was
hysterical.
by far one of my personal favorite episodes
Out of 3.
out of
Top three, baby.
That's
But,
like our ranking. What are we? 237 out of 240.
we might be lower than that.
Oh.
We're probably
no.
not even ranked anymore.
But you can catch us on YouTube at the Guys Night Podcast, Apple and Spotify Guys Night Podcast, and on Instagram, guys_night_podcast. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday with an all new episode. Good night from Guys Night.